Hello people, it's your ambassador again talking about, as usual, my kind of things of interest. They might be very political, they might be very engaging. It's not the usual thing you guys see me talking about on Chakara TV, reviews, entertainment and all of those things. But I think when it's all said and done, there are more, should I call it, more interesting or more critical things than just the usual. I always mention people always watching reality shows, telenovelas, football games, basketball games. That's entertainment. But when it's all said and done, the core of our lives are not on those things. It's when you already have the first two segments of your Maslow pyramid that you should start thinking about those kind of things. But when the first two segments are not sorted out and then you are focusing on entertainment, it's just a long-term strategy to stay down there. And I think whoever is not interested in Africa growing will encourage that agenda. That being said, I wanted to look at the video I popped up that I stumbled upon this week was someone talking about the International Court of Justice.
Of course, I've had some elected leaders speak to me and be very blunt. This court is built for Africa and for thugs like Putin, was what one senior leader told me. We don't view it like that. This court is the legacy of Nuremberg. This court is a sad indictment of humanity. This court should be the triumph of law over power and brute force. Grab what you can, take what you want, do what you will, and we're going to simply be, we're not going to be dissuaded.
I have very strong opinions with regards to the International Court of Justice, but I think, like they'll put it in quote, what was the legacy of Nuremberg? Was that the intention of the International Court of Justice from day one? Or did it just evolve into what it is now? I cannot say. I don't have the level of information to say if that was the intention from day one or it just evolved into that. But what I can say is what I'm seeing right now. The first thing is, it almost seems like this Court of Justice is just there to enforce the Western agenda, because there are so many American / Russian leaders / Chinese leaders who I think, going by the same criteria which African leaders were being arrested and then judged, these people also deserve to be judged. But for some reason they cannot be judged, they cannot even be touched because they have a force behind them. So are we just arresting African leaders because there is no force behind them, or we are really arresting them because we want to enforce justice? Question number one. Now, I think it's a very good intention to want to have a, should I call it, a legal or a judicial system at a global level which can hold world leaders responsible for their acts cutting across borders. Because at the time when you're in control of a system like a country, that same country cannot really judge you objectively. So maybe we need that superior body. But everything comes to question now when it almost looks like it is just to judge them but not us. That doesn't look too fair. And there have been blatant situations where it is obvious. I mean, like, this guy deserves to be judged, but he's not judged. But this other guy, just because he stepped on the wrong toes, is being judged. So, how just is that just system? So these are just some of my issues with you watch the video I'm reacting to and give your opinion. I said some of these things I touched on the surface level. My main intention is to share the videos I'm watching and tell you what I think. But also I have more ideas with regards to some of these things, but I just choose not to talk about everything at the same time. I always say that as Africans, the mistake most of our great leaders have made in the past was talking too soon. And the second thing was not knowing the weight they had behind them. I would never try to lead any African system or work with any African system, or if I become a president, I'll resign the next day, because you cannot lead the people who are not ready to be led. And that goes back to what I said in the beginning regards to building a critical mass. Once you have the wrong group of people to lead, it's a suicide mission, because you fight for their interests, you get killed. You don't fight for their interests, you get killed. So you can as well just die. So I feel like the first step is to build that critical mass, because all of the leaders from Lumumba to Sankara, who killed them, it was fellow Africans. Who gave way for them to be killed? Fellow Africans. Who dragged them on the streets the way they were dragged? Fellow Africans. That's because we don't have the right critical mass. It's very easy for your people to be manipulated, turned against you. They don't even know what's their interest. They don't know the long-term plan or strategy you have. When you are killed, and they say, this guy was a great guy. Then they're singing about you. But you are gone. What about your children? What about your family? So some of these things, we have to be very strategic about it. As usual, I just want to ignite the thought and get this conversation going. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and get other people talking. That's the intention. I'm out.
Just my opinion.